You know, so it's not that often anymore where I get a model in that I haven't already done a video on. So that pretty much covers most of the subcompact and compact tractor world. So we're moving up to the utility tractors with this beautiful example behind me here of a 2011 John Deere 5065E. Yes, this model is still being produced today, although there have been a couple iterations. So what you see on here may be a little different from what's being currently produced. And with this guy here, you got to see it to believe it. Let me get up close. 23.9 hours. And you know what? I feel a little bit guilty because I put a solid hour on there myself just driving this thing around so far. I just couldn't help myself. And in fact, I just took it off the website. I'm entertaining hanging on to this bad boy for a while. And so I wanted to give myself a little bit more time to chew on that. But it's just a beautiful example of a 9-year-old machine. It's just incredible. You know, it's got the better of the two loaders. Okay, I think the other option is a 512 model, but this is the 553. So it'll lift quite a bit more weight than the 512 model will. And there's going to be an equivalent, I think it's what, a 520M that is being made right now. You're going to see a global style of quick attach bucket on here. I've done some video comparisons on the skid steer quick attach versus global versus John Deere. Does have a deluxe grill guard on there with that mesh screen. I've wiped it off, I guess I should say. I've wiped off the hood and the fenders. It had some dust on it. The seat does have a little bit of staining, if you can see it. Don't know if, yeah, you can see a little bit of that staining there, but that is one thing, unfortunately, John Deere seats are notorious for. But you can see down here in the floorboards, you know, hardly a scratch or a scuff anywhere. A little bit of dirt. Again, I haven't cleaned it off. It came from, where'd it come from? Oklahoma maybe, or Kansas, something like that. Does have one rear remote back here as well as a electrical outlet that you can see, a 7-pin there. You are going to have category 2 3-point hitch and the rear 540 RPM PTO. These are going to be offset wheels that are on here. You can see where they're bolted on. Show you the outside of them as well. So you can put these in multiple positions here to give yourself a wider or more narrow stance. It is about 6 foot wide or so. Same thing with the bucket. If you look, that bucket is going to match up just about perfectly with the outside of the tires right now on either side. It'll lift this loader over 10 foot. I think it's 122 inches high, and it'll lift over 3,100 pounds of that high. But if you're only going to lift something to about 5 foot, okay, which, let's face it, you're not lifting 10 foot all the time. You can lift 4,000 pounds at the base of the loader arms there, so that's just a chunk of weight. Let's go ahead and give you a few more fun facts here. So this guy is going to be a pre-emissions or a pre-tier 4, you might hear it called. So there's not going to be a regen or any DPF or DEF fluid, that kind of thing in here. This is pre-emissions, okay? So I think 2012 for the most part is the last year that was going to be an option. You will see a handful of models out there that for one reason or another didn't get quite phased into that tier 4 requirement until later on, but with this right here, I think 2012 was the last model year for that. This series here is and was made in India right now. It's a John Deere 3-cylinder 2.9 liter engine, and there it is, diesel. Base weight of this tractor is going to be about 5,070 pounds. I would suggest this loader here is probably another 1,100 or 1,200 pounds. And if you filled the tires there, you're going to have, I think it's roughly 2,000 to 2,200 pounds, somewhere in that ballpark of additional weight. So you can start to climb pretty quickly on there, just to keep that in mind if you are going to be getting a trailer to haul this thing around. Also on the 3-point hitch, you're going to be able to lift up about 3,200 pounds. Well, let's climb on up here in the operator station and we'll show you around. Okay, so here's a look right from the operator's seat. Take a look up here at the dash. You can see you've got your RPMs right here along with your hours down there in the middle. You are going to have your fuel over here and then your temperature over here, all right? And you will have a hand throttle. Now this is a gear drive, so you're going to have a hand throttle here, so you got your turtle in your hair for your engine RPMs. And you'll also down there, you can see that where my foot is, be a foot throttle, okay? So you can perhaps set this halfway if you want to, and then have a little bit more fine-tuned control over engine RPMs with the foot throttle there. You're going to see right down here, this is going to be a foot brake, and it is a split brake as well. So you can see this little chunk in the middle. Try to make sure you can see that there. It's really bright out here, but yeah, that's a split brake, so you can control it that way. And you're going to have your clutch right there. Turn signals right here, as well as light controls. Now this is a pretty straightforward utility tractor. You're not going to have anything like cruise control specifically called out, although it being a gear drive will essentially treat it like it is cruise control. No tilt steering, anything like that either. Can see the vertical stack exhaust right there. And these hoses here for the loader are going to go ahead and follow right down and feed right into quick disconnects that are underneath the floorboard down there. This is going to be your loader joystick right here. So again, as with everything else, that would be down, push it beyond, and you have float, pop it back out like that, and you're returned to normal operation. You can see on here, you have reverse, 1, 2, 3, and park plus a neutral there, all right? And then on this side, you've got your range. So you have A, which is going to be low, essentially, neutral, B, which is kind of your medium range, and then C there is going to be high or fast, okay? If we bounce back over here, you're going to see this is your 3-point rock shaft control to raise and lower your 3-point hitch. You would just pull it up like this to raise the 3-point hitch and then put it back down like this. Now this right here, to be honest, is new to me. It's called a draft control or draft position control, I believe. Had to look in the manual to see what it was all about, and so it does have an off position right down here. And essentially, if you had this engaged, at a certain point, it will override the functionality of the 3-point control here. So if you are trying to maintain a consistent depth, say if you have a planter or a plow or some other ground engaging tool, a tiller even, and you are trying to stay at a certain depth and you have a swale or uneven ground, you can engage this at different amounts, and once it senses a load on the draft there, then it will override, if it needs to, the depth of the 3-point control here. That way you have a nice consistent depth as you're cutting and traveling forward. Right down here, this is going to be your remote, your rear remote. There is a rear remote on the back, and that is what will allow it to function one way or another if something is plugged into it. If we take a look on this side here, this is going to be our PTO. So for our rear PTO, if we want to turn it on and off, this is going to be the lever to do so. You do need to engage the clutch in order to engage the PTO. I would suggest only doing that as a stop as well. And then down here, this is going to be your 2 to 4-wheel drive engagement lever. It's going to be an up-down motion on there. Sometimes you need to be moving around in order to get that to function, and that's how it's going to operate like that. Now this seat does have a seat adjust right here, and so you would simply pull up and down. I can't really do that with one hand, but that is going to be the functionality right there. Little bit of tool storage up here. Does have folding ROPS, and so you potentially could even fit this in a 7-foot garage. 8 would probably be easier because the tallest part is actually this vertical stack exhaust. If we take a look at the back side here, you're going to see this is your fuel fill. This is actually a seat weight adjustment right here, where you can get a little bit more fine-tuned adjustment on the suspension of the seat. Your hydraulic fill right there for you, and we've already talked about the back side here as well. Well, just a quick overview there of a John Deere 5065E. Again, just a beautiful specimen right here, about 23 hours. That will be going up, but it's not on the market right now. Perhaps it will be at some point, but gives you an idea what this model is all about. Again, this is a 2011. There's been a couple generations since that point, so while the 5065E is still manufactured, what you see on here may be slightly different from what is produced in a later year that you might see on the market. If you like what you see here, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Check out the other videos on my YouTube channel, and make sure you go to goodworkstractors.com. I can help you out with a tractor, with an attachment, put together a whole package, help with delivery and financing too. Until next time, stay safe. We'll see you soon.